know anything about S.E.R.E, my recruiter's pushing me to do it heavy. I'm pretty sure. So Canada is an interesting base, and I promise you I'm going to answer your question, but I have to mention this. Canada is an interesting base that our deployment bucket does not fall in with the rest of everyone else. We're falling to AFSOC, Air Force Special Operations. So with that, our deployments are different. Our deployments are basically kind of based on the need. It's supply and demand. We need somebody over here. We need somebody to deploy with special operation. We need you to supply with the special tactics unit, whatever. And we just pick some. All right, we need a paid agent. Go. We need a staff. We need a 5 level. We need something. Go. And so our normal buckets of deployments don't happen on that same schedule as the rest of the Air Force. With that being said, I might be going to S.E.R.E in the coming months or so. I know I had a TDY schedule for June, and that's still kind of up in there whether or not I'll be going to that. But it's like a 4-day TDY out in the desert with, a fancy unit, whatever. It'll be interesting. And of course, I'll say what I can say because I don't plan on blowing the whistle on nothing. But we'll see. We'll see. But as it relates to S.E.R.E, I might be going to S.E.R.E. S.E.R.E is survival training for those of you who don't know. And they teach you to be evasive. Anyone who flies on an aircraft, no matter what your job is, you will have to go to S.E.R.E at some point to learn how, in case, God forbid, the plane goes down, you have to learn how to survive long enough. You have to learn how to evade the enemy and how to behave when you're in the enemy's possession. So all those things will be taught at S.E.R.E. And then, of course, usually when you go into S.E.R.E as an actual AFSC, you become an instructor of S.E.R.E. So yeah, I've heard good and bad things. I actually went to a job fair that actually had a S.E.R.E table, and I spoke to the guy. He had like a table full of gear and knots and different maps you got to learn. And yeah, it's different. It's different. I don't have an opinion on it because I've never gone through it. I've only had a couple conversations and I've only observed it, slightly. But it sounds interesting. I don't know how to advise you as far as whether or not to do it. But again, 4-year contract. 4-year contract. Also, I would ask about the cross-training ability out of certain jobs. That's one thing I don't mention enough on this channel is that certain jobs you cannot just up and leave just because you're in a cross-train window. So again, if you sign a 4-year contract, you can cross-train in usually 24 months. If you sign a 6-year, it's 59 months. Well, not every AFSC is going to allow you to just up and leave, especially if you re-enlist. If you re-enlist, you're pretty much stuck unless your career field's overmanned. And there are some career fields that are overmanned. I know medical group just had a recent transition to Department of Health, DHS, essentially. So some career fields, they're trying to get rid of people. I'm like, all right, we got enough people. We need to move some people out. But yeah, if you're in a 1 Alpha, if you're in a flying AFSC, the ability to leave that AFSC is probably going to be quite difficult. There's going to be some friction there if you're even able to leave at all. So that's something to keep in mind. S.E.R.E might fall into that boat because I believe they are critically manned. So if you do take that job, just be mindful that it may not be easy to leave it. Even if you want to cross-train, even if you're in your cross-train window, you might not be able to because if they're critically manned, they're be holding everyone they can get. And they're trying to get people in and they're trying to hold them there and say, yo, we need this position manned. We can't afford to just have high turnover rates in this one career field. So be mindful of that. If you don't want to, if your recruiter's pushing on you, it's one thing to be advised all right, this is what you need to list versus, hey, you want this? You want this job? It's two different, means of communication. So just be mindful of those type of things. S.E.R.E, it sounds interesting. I know you have to kill a rabbit and, a bunch of other stuff and, be out I believe it takes place in Washington State. So this time of year, you might be able to get away with murder, but during the winter, anyway, I ain't got time for all that.